Hi and welcome, it's Ruth here at artfulstampin.co.uk. Welcome to another Stampin' Sunday blog hop. Please do check out the other hoppers in the blog link below. So we're focusing on the Gilded Autumn Suite this month, and it is a stunning, luxurious, beautifully coloured suite. It has some great imagery, lots of lovely autumn imagery and some other elements with that suite. Do check it out on page 44 of the Autumn Winter catalogue, or if you go to the website you can search by looking at particular suites. So I've decided for this month to make a layout using this lovely photograph that I found of my mother from a very long time ago with two unknown ladies. I just messaged my mum and she says she can't remember who they are. So they obviously were quite dear to her, because she looks like she's looking intently and listening to what that older lady's saying. And I thought the colours in it just went so well with kind of an autumn look. So I cut myself a piece of copper foil cardstock that is from that suite. It's like a brushed foil, so it's not as super shiny as the other foils. And I tucked it away in a little cellophane bag so that it was protected while I was creating my layout. So here I'm just drawing onto my cardstock a nice big arc to go across the corner, because I wanted to give myself a kind of idea of where I was heading with the layout. I also marked out where I thought that the photograph would go. So if you are a scrapbooker or if you're a beginner scrapbooker and you struggle with layouts, then this is a really simple layout that you can have a go with. I'm using the beautiful autumn stamp set and punches to decorate, and might be pulling in some extra other little elements from other stamp sets as well. So what I'm doing here is laying down some mint macaron ink with that lovely scattering of leaves onto a 12 by 12 piece of mint macaron card. I start off using a light colour just to give myself an idea of where I'm heading and to lay down some sort of texture in the background. And as I go along, I just keep adding more and more sort of different layers and colours to that arc, and also create a frame around where the photograph's going to go. So do explore that beautiful autumn stamp set. It has lots of lovely elements to it, and there are some stamps that are designed to be stamped inside each other. There's, you know, a tri-leaf, there's the individual leaves as well. So there's a outline stamp, and there is also a block stamp to kind of colour in. But you don't have to use them that way. You can use them just as individuals and just create layer upon layer of imagery. So this was just such a fun thing to do. I've not made a scrapbook layout for quite a while, although I've been stamping lots of 12 by 12 pieces recently, and people have been saying, oh, this would look great for a layout. I've not actually made any layouts. So this was a really nice kind of departure or return to scrapbooking, which hasn't been done for a while. So after the mint macaron layers, I decided to add some large leaves with petal pink. Now, the thing to remember when you're using a coloured ink on a coloured cardstock, it's not going to look the same as if you coloured it on white, stamped it on white cardstock, but that's okay, because you can then play with that kind of mixture of colour. So what I end up with is a petal pink that is almost going towards the browns and the beiges by the time it's mixed with the mint macaron card. So that lovely large leaf just adds an added bit of background to the stamping that I was doing. Then I remembered at the side of me I had a piece of cardstock, a card base, ready to make a card, because when you are getting out a suite of products, or you've chosen some products that you feel go together, you may as well be making a couple of projects on the go, because it can take 10 or 15 minutes just to gather your products. So you may as well complete an extra project. So I remembered that I was meant to be stamping onto my card base at the same time. So you'll see me do this. I flip between the two projects as this video continues. So then I decided I wanted to use some crumb cake on this, again just to add another layer of depth to the project, and some more leaf shapes. And as you can see, it's kind of building up nicely, and we're getting a really nice kind of leafy arrangement on the page. And don't forget to stamp your card. So I hope you're having a great day wherever you are, and you're going to have some time of stamping and enjoying. Now this is a fun technique if you've got some of the texture paste. I punched out with a piece of a plastic sheet, I think it probably was a Stampin' Up one that they sell, and I punched out a leaf or a couple of leaves and used the texture paste to push through. Well, you basically use it as a stencil and put texture paste onto my layout. Now if you don't have texture paste, you don't have to do this. You can actually just use the stamp that comes in the Beautiful Autumn set and just stamp the Versamark and put your embossing powder over it. The reason I chose the texture paste was just to show you that you could make your own stencil, for one, and secondly that using the texture paste you get this lovely kind of bubbly effect when you put the embossing powder over it. So I just wanted to share that with you. I have shown this technique in the past, but I haven't done it for quite a while, so I thought it would be nice just to include it. So in hindsight, I would have cut down my stencil. That little stencil was part of a bigger sheet and it kept getting in the way. So next time I do this, I will cut that little stencil down and just use it as a little individual piece. And I probably won't make half as much mess. So I've thrown copper embossing powder over those embossing pieces, sorry, the texture paste pieces, and then heated it up to really get the, to get it all set and shiny and bobbly, and it just adds another sort of layer of texture there. Sorry, I meant to cut this section out. This is like the boring section where I'm putting all the embossing powder away. But anyway, it's good to remember, put your embossing powder away. I've had many an accident when I've forgotten to do that, where I've just like pulled the paper from under and the powder's gone everywhere. So yes, remember to do that. So hopefully you can see the texture of that and how it sort of bubbles and bobbles, and it's quite fun. So this heat tool is available in the UK and in Europe. So if you're shopping from Europe, please remember to choose the EU plug option, not the UK plug, because apparently we have different plugs. Okay, I love how that has turned out. So then I had pre-embossed and cut out some little acorns and maple leaves. So did you know you can emboss onto foil card? And it looks really fun. It gives a really subtle, especially if you do like copper on copper or gold on gold, it gives a lovely subtle texture to the leaves. So I do recommend that you have a go doing that. It's a really lovely technique. So I scattered the leaves around, and I also had out of that suite the mint macaron and copper ribbon, and I've discovered a fun technique. I don't know if anyone else has done it, but I was just fiddling with it and discovered you could do this. So if you pull and pick at it, you can pull the strand that is going through the copper ribbon and it pulls it apart. So you can do this and then cut off a section to hold it all together, and then you can use that on your cards and scrapbook projects just to add this kind of massive kind of tassel of copper foil threads immediately to your work without having to faff around with thread to wrap around. So do have a go doing this. This was a really fun discovery, and I think it's going to be making a show in the next few weeks on my lives, because I really loved how it turned out. So here I am just checking the frame to make sure it all fits, and I did have to kind of move a leaf out the way and also do some extra gluing down with some tape, because I realised that, oh, I forgot to tell you that I also took apart some of the green ribbon. So the mint macaron ribbon can also be taken apart. You have to kind of work at it a little bit more and maybe use your scissors to cut it apart, but it creates this really fun soft tassel. So I glued it with some Tombow, the monoliquid glue, but realised that I needed to add some extra tape. So I grabbed some tear tape and put that over the top just to do some extra. And then I managed to get glue on the side of the frame and had to rub that off with silicone rubber. So I decided then I needed to do more to my card. Oh, no, I didn't. I cut that bit out. Okay, so I remembered I wanted to put some sort of words on my layout. And here I am making this massive boo-boo because I didn't ink my stamp up enough. So here I am fixing it, and remembered that actually that was the wrong set of words I wanted on there. I actually wanted blessed on there. So I then cut out a piece of copper cardstock with the lovely tag label punch and stuck the word blessed over the top of it. So there we go. Don't worry if you make mistakes. It happens to us all. They can all be covered up with another piece of cardstock. So rarely do I make a mistake where I go, oh right, that's it, I've got to shove it all in the bin. They're usually always fixable. So I used some dimensionals to stick the word bless down, as I had also used dimensionals on some of the little acorns and leaves too. Just to add, again, more dimension. It all helps. So then, oh yes, I discovered a little leaf that I'd forgotten to stick on. So there we go, that's me sticking that on. So for the focal point for my card, I decided to cut another piece of the tag out and this time ink my stamp properly and stamp that lovely sentiment, "My heart is grateful for you." I stamped that onto some mint macaron cardstock and cut it out with the 2-inch circle punch, which just about squeezes it in. Yeah. And the reason I used the 2-inch punch was because I wanted it to sit inside the tag punch I'd already punched out. So if it wasn't for that, I would recommend the 2 1/4. But because I wanted it to have that border all the way around, I did use the 2-inch. Then I decided to make a few more copper fronds to stick underneath and stuck it all together to create this cute card. So there we go. And then I also added some more stamped leaves. Oh, and I sponged around the edge as well, just to soften the edges of the card so they weren't so clean. So there we have it. That's my layout and my card for today. I hope you've enjoyed watching this project. Please do subscribe if it's your first time here, if you like what you see. I go live and I've got plenty of other tutorials ready, waiting in the wings for you to watch. And please go and have a look at all the other amazing hoppers. They're an amazing group of artists and creatives. Take care and have a great weekend. Bye.